those globe scenes were shot at the very end, so we could fit those actors throughout the whole movie. There was 350 background performers. They're surrounding Joe and Jessie in those globe scenes, and they are emoting with them, they're crying. It was really astonishing to see them working.
We got off to a really good start because we went and we looked at the real globe. And for Chloé, it was really about scale. Like, she felt that it was too big and that ours needed to have an intimacy. So we brought ours in, so it's 75%. So you feel that relationship with the stage and the audience, just it's a little more enveloping.
We create everything around Jessie, so we built around her reacting to what she's seeing, how much the play evolves. And that's the scene we probably worked the longest because you really needed to get it right.
I love Jessie close up at the end. All the world is reflecting her eyes, and there's so many emotions, and they just change.
We knew the moment that she extends a hand, it was so important so we could work backwards from that.
When I first read the script, I saw Jessie as this, essentially a heart muscle. She was this like vibrant beating heart. And so I wanted to make sure that we kind of give that impression of her in the costumes. And so there's this like raw, vibrant reds and oranges and maroons, and it's all kind of twisting and turning. So when we see her kind of through Will's eyes, she is so alive and so just undeniably present. That was really why I wanted it to be like so vibrant and red. But also Chloé and I and Jessie talked about blood and sort of the essence of womanhood and humanity, it kind of like in a physical sense. And so the redness also, when she starts, she is this vibrant, fresh blood color. And then as she goes through the story, when she's a mother, the blood kind of rusts around the edges, so there's more oranges, more bricks, and so on. And then as she's going through the death of Hamnet, the blood dries up. She's like brown and gray and kind of prune purplish color, like a scab. And then when we see her at the very end, at the globe, we see the blood kind of starting to course through her veins again. So that was the color journey for her.
The color in the production design is really sparing. I mean, it's very deliberately sparing. You know, I knew what Malgosia was going to be doing with the costumes, but really for me, I was looking at, you know, the heavy beams of the Tudor architecture and the way that they're so graphic, like with the dark tones, with the whitewash, that kind of structural linear quality sits in opposition to the rambling forest, like in the vivid green. So I was sort of playing more with that, knowing that I would have a woman in a red dress walking, you know, amongst all of that. So it was all kind of quite finely calibrated so that we're sort of supporting each other, yeah.
When shall we three meet again? Barrels falling, barrels falling, barrels falling, barrels
The kids dressing up as witches, that was a super last-minute addition. Jessie didn't know it was happening, so when she opens her eyes, she truly actually is seeing it for the first time. So when she says, "That's amazing," that was Jessie, you know? And it created this meta layer because I was running around looking for things to put on them just as they would be running around the house, you know? So I was in Fiona's department looking for the baskets and tried, you know, fitting them on my head. And so that was a good little comedy bit.
This is very Susanna. You can tell that Susanna doesn't really want to do it.
I'm trying to be creepy. It's very creepy. All right, let's stay there.
Yeah.
For me at that time, it was very much about family. And really, I wanted, with the production design, to bring the audience close to that family, to have them relatable, and for it to not be a period piece that you admire from a distance and you think, oh, isn't that a beautiful, you know, set. I wanted it to be unmade beds, eggshells, and laundry by the door. I kept looking, honestly, around my house and looking at my family and thinking, how can I bring my daily life into this Elizabethan family?
What do you wish to do, Hamnet?
I should be one of the players with the sword.
Sword?
Yes, and I shall clash it against the sword of the other player.
I remember like we did this shot and then I look at my focus puller and he's crying, and then he's asking me how many more takes are we going to shoot it, because it was very heavy and really painful to be in it. We knew it's a film, and of course Hamnet is not dying for real, but on the other hand, when we were in this house together with the crew, it was so real, and Jessie and Paul, it was so painful, and then emotions were so real that it was really hard not to really feel those emotions.
Will you be brave?
Yes.
Will you be brave?
Yes! Yes, I'll be brave! I'll be brave!
I think the most important thing was performance. I think that's what kind of led us to any time. It's like, okay, this is it. We watched the footage. Whenever we found the performance that felt the most emotional, then that's what we went with.
That was our principle, to create, a space, atmosphere, and give our cast freedom to be open to what is happening, situations which are unexpected. I think the great example was just before shooting, Paul asked me if it's possible that I will give them a freedom in terms of the camera. For example, the forest, which were the place where they meet. I was thinking about different tools and still was wondering, maybe this, maybe crane, maybe gimbal. I realized that no, I just need to be very simple, have a small handheld camera and be ready to move quickly, be ready to react quickly, basically be open to everything what is happening, follow their emotions, follow them. That was the most important thing.
What are you looking at?
You.
Why?
There were moments where I wish I could have found a new word for hair and makeup, just to kind of describe what it was that we were going to be doing. It was important that we expressed that freckles were makeup and sweat was makeup. Looking tired was makeup and looking happy could be embellished with makeup. There was many occasions where you would meet Jessie and she would just be coming back from training a hawk and she would have studied all the scratches on her arms. The cast were so deeply, deeply involved in telling this story. There was iron gall ink that we would use on Will's fingers every day to show that he'd been writing through the night. And then Malgosia, I know, would incorporate the iron gall ink into the costumes.
When we see him first, he is wearing a jerkin that is made out of this scratched leather. And I was imagining his father who constantly pokes at him. I was imagining him using a little piece that he's wearing, which is worn as jewelry, but it was actually a toothpick. And the toothpick was a real thing. It was a real period thing. But then gradually, as Will is we see him kind of growing more and more frustrated with himself. He starts getting these like slashes and little wounds on his garments, which it is an Elizabethan detail. It's called pinking. The way we used it for him, it was kind of to show his emotional journey. And they start as those little scratches, then grow, and then when he's actually finally in London, they are just gashes. His doublet is holes into his soul. And then finally, when we see him as the ghost, he's covered in a cloak that is made of mud, or of clay rather, and the clay is cracked. And so we see him like cracking and the pieces falling off. And then he finally gets to wash it off, and we see him break down and cry.
The thing that I felt was really unique about working with Chloé was that she's incredibly intuitive and incredibly open. I think that was the thing that I found really, really gratifying, and I just loved so much on this project was that Chloé was always open, and so I was invited to the table. I was invited to be a participant in the discovery of what this film could be.
Chloé is just extraordinary. She is like one of a kind. I might cry talking about her. She is incredible. Didn't know this would happen.
With Chloé, there are no mistakes. There are a lot of happy accidents, but there are no mistakes. And she creates that village of courage and taking risks. And Chloé's a great storyteller, but she also makes everybody in that family feel like they too have a great story to share. And I have never quite seen anything like this before.
I think one of the things that was really striking, that I think is something that a good director can do, and I think people don't necessarily attribute this, is that they pick the right people.
There was a real sense of collaboration, not just in a professional way, but in a real spirit, in a real heart and soul, about wanting to create this really authentic story. It was an extremely supportive group of people that all came together, just wanting to do their best and wanting to tell the story in a really authentic but emotionally driven way.
Atmosphere full of respect, love, and friendship and understanding. That was very special.
It feels like we were Chloé's mushroom, that we like grew around her and just kind of, just kind of communicated. I'm so proud of the movie because of it. It feels so organic how it came together, and it's because of Chloé.
Say Hamlet.